Hey, lighten up, jerk!
So yeah, we were pretty busy, and we were, just really involved with martial arts and that whole process. And I think the majority of any street fight or street altercation that I got into was right around that time frame because, you're learning all these things and you want to. Does it work? Like,
So tell us
Test
about it.
yourself a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. When I met you, you're
Yeah,
such
yeah,
a
I
like
do have
chill
a problem.
dude.
You don't
Such
see
a
the
chill
chip?
dude.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised when you told me before you got into all these street fights, but I guess there's a story.
It was training.
Yeah. The funny thing is, Ted, he goes by Thor now, but big Scandinavian guy. A lot of those altercations were when I was hanging out with him. Oddly enough, like you would never think, like, who on earth in their right mind is going to pick a fight with a guy like this? Or he was like a magnet. I don't know. Just people would drink or do whatever they were doing. And there was a place called FM Station in North Hollywood. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It was kind of like a rockers place. They would have like Eddie Van Halen cover bands and things like that there. And we came outside after one of those shows, and there was a big group of us, and some guy was just beating on some poor helpless dude, like, yeah, it just didn't seem right. I didn't have the background behind it, but it just was obvious, like, big dude, little dude, like, let it go, whatever it was, And, the guy's like, a white man doesn't disrespect another white man, and da-da-da-da. So, maybe he was hitting on his girlfriend, or he didn't know, or whatever. And so we were just kind of watching what was going on and just making sure that, like, the guy didn't get killed. And eventually the guy stood up, he turns around, he's looking at somebody, and he's like, well, you got a fucking problem. I can curse on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I try to impose like at least a PG-13, but it's like, fuck it.
yeah, I mean, again, you can just.
No, go ahead.
All
right.
You're fine. You're fine.
So he's looking at somebody, and he's like, yeah, you got a problem. And I look, and I see he's walking towards Ted, of all people, of all the people in the parking lot.
Remind me again how big
Thor.
Ted was.
How big?
How Thor was. How big Thor
Okay,
was.
I want to say 6'3", 6'4",
Damn.
265.
265.
Wait, how tall was this other guy?
He was a pretty good sized dude.
Okay.
He was maybe 240, 230.
Okay.
Stocky. He had like curly hair. Just a big white dude.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ted, being the lookalike, he was a little bit shorter than Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is probably 6'7" or something like that. But anyways, he's a big guy. So I'm just like amazed. I'm watching this guy with his big gonads walk up to Thor, and they're standing there, and the guy's just amping himself up. He was about to just go, and he was just amping himself up, getting ready to throw, and I'm like, that's my buddy. I'm not gonna let this happen, and I train, so.
And remind me again, at this time, how old were you?
I was probably around 18,
Okay.
17, 18.
Were you like 160?
Something like
Something
that.
like that.
Yeah.
You weren't 240 or nothing.
No, I was like half of his size.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is getting interesting.
Yeah. So it's at night, I wasn't warmed up or anything. And I just cranked him as hard as I could with his all my might with a straight right into his chin. Nice. And there was some blood coming out of his mouth a little bit, but he just looked at me like, you're dead. Like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Oh, wow.
You are fucking dead. And after I hit him again, I said it was cold, right? So my arm was just like Jello. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm not using that arm again.
Oh, wow.
For a while. So I'm like, okay, what's the next best thing? Tie kick, shin to the thigh. So I cranked him on that. Yeah. And he just started walking forward. He was like the fucking Terminator.
The Terminator, dude. Damn.
So, again, I don't know if he was on something or, there's stuff called PCP.
Yeah.
Those guys are
Sounds like
crazy,
he's
man.
Oh, man, yeah.
Because, I can talk about some other experiences where I have cranked on someone and that was it, like one shot and they're done.
Yeah, of course. Especially
and that's
if you get 'em
great
on the chin.
when that happens. But, and I'll tell you kind of like the summary of collective summary of what I kind of learned about street fights and what works and what doesn't work. Anyway, from my experience. So yeah, he just starts advancing. I'm like, okay, I cranked him with my best right. I cranked him with my best leg kick, and he's still coming at me. So at this point, let's see. I'm trying to remember exactly the details. I think I was
Just get a little closer to the mic.
Sorry, I was
getting
gonna,
good.
I was going to go for another punch,
Yeah.
even though my arm was kind of like
Uh-huh.
singing. Brachial plexus, everything was just kind of, my nervous system was like, whoa, what did you just do? You haven't even warmed up. I started to throw a punch, and I noticed that, he threw a punch. And in boxing, when somebody throws a jab, you can go just out of range and come right back. I was coming right back, but he wasn't respecting it. Like, I knew, like, it was going to turn into, like, a grappling situation at that point.
A headbutt or something.
Yeah. So because of that, because I knew he wasn't respecting the power, I was like, okay, I need to start moving. So I'm doing the footwork, and he's throwing punches, and he's missing, and I'm just moving and moving, and people are cracking up. Like, people are just laughing. They're like, oh my God, he can't hit him. But at the same time, I didn't want to engage. And at that time I was just learning about jiu-jitsu. Like, I think I had Gracie in action. I had like the basic,
Awesome.
just
VHS tapes.
the VHS
Oh,
tapes,
wow.
and I was
VHS tapes.
just getting into that. But I had hair that was probably
I still can't imagine that.
from here all the way down.
Longer
to,
than your
to my
former hair,
sacral
dude.
bone.
Yeah. I mean, mine came up to like the small.
There's
of
going to
my,
be a picture of it right here.
Yeah. No, he could insert it.
If you send it to me, I'll stick it in.
So
You probably won't.
And normally I would have it in like bands, like hair bands, like a rope. And any fight I would get into, I would tuck it into my shirt, and it would look like this funky spine from the back, like spinous processes sticking out.
Yeah.
But it made it difficult to grab. Unfortunately, in all the altercations that I had long hair, I never got my hair grabbed. But so it was like out. It was like curly, poofy hair, like flopping around. I'm like, I'm not going to grapple with a guy that wants to kill me and grab my hair. So I'm moving around. I don't know if you ever met Patrick McCreary. He's a guy, one of my best friends from high school, 6'3". He was really skinny back then, maybe 160 at 6'3". Okay, but big frame, and he was the kind of guy that he had your back. So out of nowhere, he comes running from across the street, and he's got super long hair. I just see this like mane of hair.
Lion King, Mufasa, dude.
And this guy is just rushing it, and he grabs the guy from behind, like grabs his hair like from behind. He's just like, rah! And then Ted jumps in, and like everybody realizes this guy is just like the Terminator. And so everybody, just kind of like jumps on this guy, and we eventually got him to the ground, and I was going nuts. Like Ted had him like in this, WWF like headlock kind of a thing. And I'm like dropping elbows on his kidneys, and it got ugly.
Jeez.
And the guy was just like talking, he's like, hey, this doesn't have anything to do with you guys, as he's like eating all these punches. It was wild. I mean, Pat threw a big right punch, and he hit Ted instead of the guy. And Ted's like, you're hitting me, bro. And it was out of control.
Crazy.
Completely out of control.
Was the guy like all bloodied up? Did he get knocked out?
He never got knocked out.
Okay.
He was just messed up.
Oh my
His
gosh.
face was
Wow.
messed up. He was like doing this because I was dropping those elbows.
Yeah.
Those 12 to 6 o'clock.
12 to
elbows.
6. Illegal elbows.
All
Not
my
illegal
body
on the
weight-
streets.
Yeah, he got worked, but that just goes to show like how tough this guy was, and how you cannot rely on just thinking that you're going to crank somebody with a couple punches and it's done.
Yeah.
So we ended up like this. The cops came, and we're like, oh fuck, we're busted, and I had blood on my hands, and they're like, did any of you guys hit him? And I'm like, I've got blood on my hands. It's like so obvious. And the most amazing thing about the story is the guy starts telling the cops, he's like, you know what? This has nothing to do with them. He's like, I don't know what he was on, but he was kind of like slurring. He's like, this has nothing to do with them. He basically just like
Let it go.
And I was
Wow.
like, what just happened here?
That's crazy. Maybe he was going through something.
Apparently. So,
Damn.
the
intense.
moral of that story is, again, don't rely on thinking. In every fight that Mike Tyson ever got into on the street, he broke his hand. Right. These are thin bones, and
Yeah.
you spend a lot of time
Yeah.
studying the hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very thin bones, and when you learn how to generate a lot of power, and you hit like the diplo of the skull, which is compact bone, spongy bone, compact bone, it's a very protective layer, and it's very easy to break your hand. So,
Oh yeah.
fortunately, I didn't break my hand, but I wasn't able to use that arm after that first shot. So,
You have to rely on something else.
So you think if somebody's about to hit you, maybe kind of go like this, right? Present that hard.
absolutely drop
head
drop
right
your
in there.
chin, right? So
Yeah.
you're not going to get hit in the chin, and let them hit the top of your head.
Take
If
it right on the. If you're gonna take one, take it right on the top of the skull.
yeah, and that may be the last time that they throw a punch. Of course, it's not going to feel good for you either,
Right.
but
That's better than facial bones
nose,
or nose or.
the zygomatic bone is
Yeah.
thin. Yeah, you can get your cheekbone busted very easily, knocked out from your chin.
Like the orbital bone is pretty, like, you can mess that up too.
Absolutely, it's a thin bone. Yeah.
Even a shot that upsets your vision and you still have to fight.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
absolutely.